See how I stuff a mushroom when this old man cooks. Welcome to Kitchen Kingdom, where this old man throws down to chow down. In this episode, I'm going to stuff a portobello mushroom. So let's get ready to rattle some pots and pans. So what you're going to need for this is about a quarter cup of celery chopped, quarter cup of onion chopped. We have 1 teaspoon each of ground sage, bell seasoning, garlic powder, about 2 teaspoons of thyme. We have 2 teaspoons of crushed fennel seed, and 2 teaspoons of cumin. We also have 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of pepper, about 1.5 cups of the cornbread dressing, about 1 pound of ground turkey, and of course the star of the show, the portobello mushroom. Okay, first thing we wanted to do is we have our 1 pound of ground turkey. We're going to take our salt, our pepper, our cumin, our crushed fennel, our thyme, and our garlic powder. And we're just going to get this mixed up. We want to do this first because we want these flavors to marry in here before we get the stuffing. That's pretty much it. Set this aside in your refrigerator and we'll do the next step. For this next step, we have our breadcrumbs here, which is cornbread. We're going to put in the sage and the bell seasoning. Just give it a toss around. We're going to add just a little bit of, I have some chicken stock here. You can add broth, you can add vegetable stock or vegetable broth if you want. Just want to get a little bit hydration going on this. Remember, this is 1.5 cups of breadcrumb. We might not use all of the mixture, but if you don't, you can just bake it off and have some nice cornbread dressing. Now what we want is some of our celery and some of our onion, about 1/4 cup each. Incorporate that in there. I didn't finely chop it because I wanted some texture in it. We're just going to go ahead and leave it like that, and we're going to combine that dressing with the meat. So this has been marrying about, I'd say 45 minutes. Now we're going to take our dressing and we're going to combine it. Let's start off with that much and we'll see how much else we might need. We're going to combine it with the meat. Now, if you're using seasoned breadcrumbs, you don't want to add any more salt because there's going to be salt in the seasoned breadcrumbs. So the only salt went into the meat mixture. So now we're going to set this aside again and prep our mushrooms. Here we're going to take our mushroom and we're just going to gently scrape the insides. And this stem here, we're just going to gently relieve it from duty. And then clean out the rest of it. Doesn't have to be perfectly clean, but you want as much room in here as possible. Now in this pan, I'm going to place some turmeric infused butter and on very low heat. I'm going to melt it and treat our mushroom to a little light saute. Now remember I said the insides we're going to use later. Here we go. Now what I have is I melted some butter and I have some breadcrumbs with some parsley flakes in it. I'm going to go ahead and just get this just slightly buttered. This is going to be sprinkled on the top of the mushrooms once I stuff them to give it just a little bit of texture. So now we have the mushroom, and I'm going to take our stuffing and meat mixture. Ooh. And just get some of that in there. Not on there, not on there. I'm gonna do the other mushroom. You can put as much of this as you want. This is going to bake off at 3 1/4 for roughly 45 minutes. So I'm going to take some of the duxit, which is the inside of the mushroom that I sauteed in the remainder of the turmeric infused butter. We're just gonna put some of that on top. This is just going to add another dimension of flavor. It gives it a deeper earthiness. And now we're going to complete it with the breadcrumb and parsley butter mixture. Doesn't have to be all coated, but just enough to give it a little bit of crunch and some texture. We're going to bake this off at 325 for about 45 minutes. And here we are ready for plate up. We're going to take our mushroom and place it right there. Yeah, I have some mini sweets that I chopped up. Just gonna sprinkle those on the top, just for a little color. And I'd say, let's chow down.